Blessings and good fortune, everyone. We're back for another Thursday show. Man, I'm really pumped today. It's not that there's anything crazy or happening out there that I can highlight for you today, because everything's crazy all the time, right? We're in crazy clown world, I guess you could call it. But the fact remains that I'm happy to be here. Lord willing, I'm hitting all you guys at a point when you're ready to hear some stuff. And if you're not, I want to be an encouraging word for you, because there is good news amongst all the craziness, ladies and gents. We have great news. Why? Because we're still alive. Okay, God is great. He's with us. Who can be against us, right? That's just the main thrust of the show. But anyway, I got some news for you. As we'll usually do, we'll figure out exactly how we're working here on the Facebook page. I think I'm going to have to go out and come back in to see y'all coming in and enjoying the video, if you will, the presentation. Let's see if I get us up. Yeah, we're up there. Coming on for the comments, and all right. So I'm ready. I'm ready to get this show rolling here, and we're ready to see you guys come in on the comments and see who's here and ask what you want to ask. Know what you want to know from whatever it is that I've been studying this week, or whatever it is you want to know from past weeks, or throw a curveball at me. You got something different to say, you got something different you want to explain, or something you disagree with. We're all ears. Let's do it. So as usual, what I'd like to do is go over the things that are framing the basic framework, I would call it. Things that we could use to look and see, well, how's our economy doing? Yeah, I know. You were just in a good mood until I mentioned that. Hey, here's something cool. This is what I ordered, and I know I give you guys, and I got some more here to recommend. Recommended sources for interesting and cutting edge, if you will, news, because these people cover it. This is the X22 mug, okay, that I got. And they have the X22 logo there. And I'm going to get Bitcoin Otter one of these days. Going to get me Bitcoin Otter mugs and show them off. And then we got the American flag in whatever design they like. But it's made in America, to my knowledge. Made in America. And this says the Patriots are in control. So X22 has some good stuff. And I got one of their T-shirts. I'll sport that a different day. But here are some of the things to look for. Oh, we got a thumbs up here. I'm not seeing who's up. So how am I going to get that? Comment. No, that's not working. Try to figure out how I'm going to see who's here. But I'm getting thumbs up. That's a good sign. So gold, ladies and gents, gold. We've hit just basically, we're $3 short of the 2,000 mark, right? Remember what we have learned about that, what I've learned about it, and I'm sharing it, is that gold is a barometer, right? And the usual suspects, the central bankers of the world know this. So they suppress gold using the futures markets. And we'll get into that dynamic in a little bit. Silver, $23.99, so 24. So basically we have $2,000 gold and $24 silver. It's not really a surprise to us, is it? It's not monumental by any stretch. That, I believe, is coming later on in 2024. But what I can say is that it is inching up. It is ready to go. So if you're interested in putting your hard-earned money, dollars, Federal Reserve notes, if you will, into something that's not going to lose value, gold and silver is a good option. Okay, it's, again, two of the four that me, as a non-financial advisor, I am not a financial advisor. I have no certifications whatsoever in advising anything financial. Okay, I don't. I have some Bitcoin certifications, and if you want to know about them, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. So here we are, and I didn't do this at the first, but it's probably better because we have more people now. We're on 97.7 FM, KCYP, the city. We are broadcasting out of the McAllen Creative Incubator. It's a great place. We've got a new director. We're pretty excited. Just before the show, we were talking that hopefully we'll be able to go in new and exciting directions with the McAllen Creative Incubator. So we're hopeful for that. Regardless, what I'd like to say is we're on 97.7 FM. This is the Bitcoin Otter Show. We're coming out of McAllen, Texas, too, by the way, in case you're not here. So we have gold at $2,000, silver at $24 an ounce, Bitcoin, $34,900. Okay, so we're right there, and this is a point of resistance. Okay, so if you follow markets, you've got resistance and support, right? So right now, resistance is 35. So for whatever reason, Bitcoin is resisting at the $35,000 range. We have been over it a couple weeks ago. And ladies and gents, as this stuff heats up, you're going to see a rise in these assets. Yes, I used asset and Bitcoin in the same sentence because I believe it is a very valuable asset. So that's me. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just, well, my advice for, what you value it for. So, Noe, gotcha. Rudy, gotcha. Glad to see you hanging out with us today. So, what I want to start with first, okay? This is something that I've been thinking of, but I haven't really articulated it yet. And hopefully I'll do so today, and I'll do so in an understandable way. As we usually do here on the show, because Bitcoin Otter is a private membership association as a business entity. And I am also, and we have structured the association as a faith in God nonprofit, 508(c). Okay, so as such, we are free, thank God, because we're here in America, to express our faith. You don't have to share our faith by any means, but I'd like to explain from the Bible where I'm coming from with my, I guess you could say, frustration. That'd be a really calm word on the Western central bankers. This passage is from Matthew chapter 11, 15 through 18. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves, and would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. And as he taught them, he said, "Is it not written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." This is verse 18. This is important here too. The chief priests and the teachers of the law heard this and began looking for a way to kill him, for they feared him, because the whole crowd was amazed at his teaching. Ladies and gents, the money changers that permeated, I guess you could call it, infiltrated the entire culture of Jerusalem, of Israel, they are pretty much the same people that own the Federal Reserve. Yeah. Maybe some of you may not have made that connection, okay? Now, granted, we are a nation that has no state religion, okay? And since the state of Israel, where they were at one point, not at the time of Jesus, of course, but at one point they were ruled by God himself, okay? And that was, and someday, again, will be the best form of government, is direct rule by God. Now, in the interim, we have the United States, which is the best form of government, which used to be a constitutional republic. We are no longer such because we have been infiltrated. We have been, in my words, these are my words, I'm not trying to get anyone else in my jackpot, but we have been overthrown. We have been through a coup, an insurrection, if you will. And we are, and again, I'll go to my buddy Dave from X22. We are winning because patriots are in control. How do you know that, Otter? You just said we were overthrown. You just said there was an insurrection and yada, yada, yada. Well, I guess I'm running in front of myself. But what I'd like to say is that the money changers in Jesus' time that had infiltrated the system of government and religion to the extent where they were actually in the holiest place in Israel. Now, they were not in the Holy of Holies, okay, where the Ark of the Covenant was. but they were in the temple and they were doing their thing. And Jesus showed that he was angry about it because their thing is thievery. The money changers change money into worthlessness. They take and reap the goodness of our labor and return to us worthlessness. Okay? That is what money changers do. I am explaining, and you may have an argument. Come on up if you do. Sue, you're up. Dan is there. Good to see you guys. You got an argument against this, please let me know. You have a word of wisdom from your own experience. Throw it out there. But I'm equating the money changers of the biblical time to the money changers in the Federal Reserve of today's day. Because Western central banking is a plague on humanity. But again, I must repeat, patriots are in control. If you want to know more about this, if you want to know why I'm so confident, why I'm so optimistic, and I am, and I'm willing to share it, and I hope I'm doing that well, I will tell you. But I'll have to tell you in detail. And that requires a non-censorship media, a medium that I can contact you and let you know about, where I can give you details. Because I think if I went into them right now, we're going off of YouTube, we're going off of Facebook. They are very much in the censorship game. They love it because they have owners, right? They have owners. Everybody is beholden to the people that own them. My owner is God. He owns me. I'm beholden to him. Of course, I have ultimate freedom because that's who he is. Now, the people that own Facebook and YouTube, they don't give so much freedom. No, not even a little bit. If you want to talk about truth and reality, they're not going to give you any freedom. However, we have this platform and we're going to use it until we can't. So here's my thing. The money changers of the biblical times that Jesus fought against, and he was angry, right? I mean, there's not too many times in the Bible that show him angry, but I'll tell you what, when he is angry, he shows it, okay? And he doesn't sin in his anger. This is one of the biblical, things. See, throwing over those tables was not sinning. He was protecting his father's house, okay? He didn't hurt anybody. Maybe those doves flew around a little bit. Feathers flew. Who knows? Just postulating. But the fact of the matter is he didn't hurt anybody. But he did get the attention, okay, of the head money changers, right? So the chief priests and the teachers, yeah, they were chief priests, they were teachers, but also they condoned what was going on there. How do you know, Otter? How do you know they condoned it? Because it was happening. They're the chief priests and the teachers. If it wasn't condoned, it wouldn't be happening. So they heard this and began looking for a way to kill him. Wow. That went from like 0 to 60 in no time, right? Thank God we're not, I don't think there's any hit squads here in the incubator. I hope not. Omar, you think we're in danger here? Good. So you all can come in and don't fear because we're going to be okay. We're in a time now where, well, some people have paid the ultimate price to get the truth out. But I'm just a little guy, and I'm glad of it too. So this is a truth I want you to know because there are things that transcend time, and bad banking policy is one of them, unfortunately. So the money changers responded to Jesus's declaration, as they always do, with evil intent. Okay, so the average guy that's at your branch, down here we have IBC, we have Lone Star, we have a bunch of banks. And in fact, I think in McAllen there are more banks than taquerias, my opinion. But anyway, and you go figure out why. So anyway, the average banker on the corner in your average bank branch is not an evil person. They're not trying to screw you out of your money. They're not trying to take your house. Okay? They're the people that you have a cup of coffee with. They're the people that you see in church, okay? But I'm talking about the people that run the racket. I'm talking about the Western central bankers, the people that are the richest people in the world. You think Elon Musk has money? Listen, the private Federal Reserve, and it is private in case you didn't know, the private Federal Reserve, Marcos, glad to see you're here. Throw in a comment if you'd like. The private Federal Reserve has wealth incalculable. How do I mean? Try to count their money, because as soon as you get close, they'll hit the button and make more. They got the magic button, like the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, see? I'm telling you, things are coming together. Now, this comes from, and this is a little bit of crypto news for you, for us crypto geeks, and for those of you that might want to dabble one day. And give me a call, too, by the way, or email me, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. So this is from The Block. It says, Coinbase crypto futures for retail U.S. traders goes live, including nano Bitcoin trading. Now, if you don't know anything about futures trading, commodities, etc., you can, and I'm sure you know, anybody who have seen the movie Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, you know that they were in the orange juice biz, right? So the commodities and futures markets are based off of commodities, meaning goods. So, you got metals, you've got agricultural stuff like corn, wheat, coffee, things like that. And you can invest in these things without ever touching the actual object. You put your money in, it's like speculating. It is speculating. And you say it's going to go up or down in a certain time period, and you can lose or win or gain money. Okay? Well, Coinbase is going to do this with Bitcoin. So the article from The Block says, after securing regulatory approval, Coinbase's service offering crypto futures trading to eligible retail U.S. customers is now active and includes nano Bitcoin contracts, the company said in the statement. So a futures contract is basically a stipulation that says you own the right to this much, in this case, Bitcoin. Okay? You don't have to exercise that contract at the end to receive the Bitcoin. You can close the contract out and never touch the Bitcoin. Okay? Here's what I believe is going to happen. Much like gold and silver, and I mentioned earlier that we were going to touch on it, and here we are. So gold and silver are low, in my opinion, and that of many people who have been studying this stuff for a long time. Why are they low? Well, the powers that be are in the market. They have used what are called shorts. So they use short contracts. So basically they bet that the price is going to go down. So they use enormous amounts of money, because they have enormous amounts of money on the short side, meaning they bring the price down. So as you see an overabundance of short contracts, okay, this affects what's called the spot price of the underlying commodity. So if we're talking about gold, and the usual suspects load the market up with short contracts, they bring the price of gold down. Now, my suspicion is they're going to try and do the very same thing with Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to work. Why? Because of the decentralized nature of Bitcoin. Well, you might also say gold is decentralized. Yes. But here's the difference. Average people don't have gold every day. Now, you do, if you've been listening. You've got some gold and or silver, okay? But you're not the average person. You're watching this. I personally think that you're in tune to be, different than average. You take it for better or for worse. I think it's better. So I think they're going to try and bring Bitcoin prices down, but I don't think it's going to happen because it's so decentralized. It's in all countries of the world. It's being mined by all kinds of different people, and it's easy to get. Gold is not nearly as easy to get. So I think they're going to fail. We will see. I'll keep you posted, of course. So again, according to the article, customers in the U.S. can now access regulated crypto futures contracts. See, they use this term regulated because they want to make people think it's safe. So if you're in real Bitcoin, ooh, that's dangerous. But if you're in the Bitcoin futures markets, that's regulated. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. You can lose more money in the futures markets than you can in real Bitcoin. Why? Because it's leveraged. Let me show you another thing here. These future contracts are specifically sized for retail traders at 1/100th of a Bitcoin and 1/10th of an Ethereum. So if you don't know, then Ethereum is the second largest market cap in the crypto markets behind Bitcoin. Anyway, it's a portion of one Bitcoin, 1/100th, right? So currently it'd be 1/100th of 35,000. So you would control that amount of Bitcoin, and you would declare on the entrance of the contract whether you believe in a certain time frame, whether it's going to go up or down. Pretty simple, but not so much. You can lose a lot, okay? Educate yourself, please. Before you go into anything like that, educate yourself. Thank you. Now, here's something else from crypto news. Render Network moves from Ethereum, we just mentioned that, right, to Solana blockchain in major win. Where next for Sol? Sol is the market, in stocks they call them the ticker symbol, the market symbol for the Solana token. So 3D content rendering platform Render Network has relocated from the Ethereum blockchain to Solana. Now, there's more to this article. I won't get into it too closely. But the reason I highlighted this was that there are a lot of people that believe that everything post-Bitcoin will be Ethereum. I'm not one of them. Why? Because I'm still more or less a beginner in trade. I don't trade Bitcoin. I don't trade cryptos. I grab them and I hodl them. Hold on for dear life, it's called. And, the acronym is HODL, HODL, right? So this is what I do. Not saying that traders are bad. I just don't do it. So what happens with Ethereum is their blockchain is such that the transaction fees are, compared to Bitcoin or many others, exorbitant. So that kind of scares people off. It has for me of investing in Ethereum and anything on its blockchain. I'm not hating on Ethereum, please. I mean, we got some, I'm sure, Ethereum maximists out there, but that's just the way I see it. And apparently others are seeing it, including Render Network. Dan, what do you think the impact will be on the Federal Reserve holding interest rates? Thank you. Thank you, Dan. It's a very good question. The impact, and this is the intended impact, by the way, of holding interest rates where they are, is, and this is ironic, and I don't know all the details of it, but to answer your question, there are many different impacts. Here's one of them: unemployment. There will be further unemployment, deeper unemployment, okay? What I have found out in studying this is the Federal Reserve relies on unemployment increasing to control inflation, okay? If there's more people unemployed, there's less people spending money. I don't know all the inside info on the dynamics, but this is one of the things they use to bring inflation under control, which, by the way, they won't be able to do, Dan. They're not going to be able to do it. There's no way they're going to be able to do it. Their mandate says they're supposed to keep it around 2%, okay? If you listen to Dave here at X22, he, I don't know that it's an estimate. I know the number is an estimate, but the quality or the actuality of the fact that inflation is cumulative. So if you count, we can't count from yesterday. We need to count from when it was taken off the gold standard. And when it was taken off the gold standard, we are in the thousands of percentages as far as inflation goes. Our money has been inflated to the moon, okay? The value of the dollar has been lost by 98% since we came off the gold standard. This is crazy. So the impact, okay, will be less people with less money, less non-Federal Reserve people. We're going to have tough times, Dan. We're going to have real tough times. So the people who are wage slaves like me that, clock in, clock out, we get paid for our time there. We may be affected if the company, the underlying company we work for, is struggling to create business, garner more clients. If you are a business owner, a small business owner, or a large business owner, you've got to deal with the fact that there is less money out there coming your way because there's less people spending money. A good barometer of that is going to be this Christmas season. How many people are going to continue to go into debt on their credit card this Christmas to buy other people gifts or themselves gifts, right? I mean, we're pretty much redlined just for, food, for bills. People are hitting I've done this before. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I've highlighted on past shows. Our credit cards are redlined, guys. Some people are going into catastrophic debt. Our country is in catastrophic debt. $33 trillion. We're bankrupt. We're bankrupt. Let me say it one more time. The United States as a corporation is bankrupt. But that's a good thing. And I'll get into that in a different show. But yes, to answer your question, Dan, I think as they hold interest rates, they're resisting the rise because that gets headlines, right? But if they keep it the same rate, it's just as, how would you say, destructive, because we're not getting any relief. The reason we're used to low rates is because they've kept it low industrially for, how long? Banks had basically a 0% interest rate, and then they charge us with the high interest, right? But no longer, because everybody else in the world is finding out that they can use different money, different currency, and they're doing it. So all those US dollars are coming back here to us, and it's not looking good for the US economy. But I am again optimistic. The Patriots are in control. Okay? And when I say Patriots, I do mean the American Patriots. But it's not just America, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? The criminal syndicate was running the whole world. So each and every nation has to fight this criminal syndicate in its own nation. Okay? It has iterations in every country. And you can see some countries are worse off than others. Look at Canada. That sad sack of a nation. I'm sorry for Canadians that are out there listening or watching. But Canada is a shambles. Castro's son, and I'm saying about Trudeau, take a look at those pictures, by the way. Take a look at Trudeau next to Castro. You'll just see it. So, Roel, glad to see you. So, every nation has to fight, but they're fighting. There are patriots in all nations fighting wokeness, fighting the climate change scam, fighting the monetary policy, fighting communism, because that's all this is in disguise. If you want to see it for what it is, it's communism. Okay? And I've got another thing in here that'll show you how crazy it is right now in Canada. So I also have recommendations, and I've already done X22 a few times in the show, but here's some others. I want to give fair time. And we know. Yes, that's a show. And I recommend all these on a platform that is very censorship resistant, Rumble. Okay? Rumble. It's not as clean and fast and as flashy as Facebook and as YouTube, but Rumble does things a little differently. And again, their main quality that you will never see, well, I won't say never say never, right? But you do not see currently in Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. Anyway, censorship resistance. You can say what you mean and mean what you say on Rumble. So, X22 report, and we know, okay? He's got great video intros, and we know. If you want to see some cool videos, they're short, but they're the intro, and man, he's really good at it. The Duran, okay? The Duran has two really, really intelligent guys. They're more of a, if you're not into conspiracy theory and looking very deep into the roots of the truth of a matter, but you still want to stay very well and intelligently informed, the Duran. Man, that is a good show. The Duran. Red Pill News. Okay, Red Pill News, Zach, he's on it, okay? And he's very informal, kind of like we are here, informal. He'll drink his I guess he drinks energy drinks. I got coffee. But you can really dig down into some things because he does interviews and he goes deep into these issues. And then you have Praying Medic. This guy is a hardcore Christian. If you're a Christian, if you're a spiritual person, you believe in the Bible and the New Testament and Jesus Christ, Praying Medic has a really good show for you. He actually has a healing ministry. Now, you may or may not believe in healing by the Spirit, but this man certainly does. And I suggest you check him out. He's got very good news on very good, presentation on many different things, intelligently presented and methodically. So those are some recommendations. X22, and we know, the Duran, Red Pill News, and Praying Medic. Now, this is from X, okay, formerly known as Twitter. So, business bankruptcies in the U.S. rose 30% in the 12-month period ending September 30, 2023. Okay? That was from Joe Consorti. Yeah, not good news, right? But going back to this, Dan, these are one of the things, these are some of the impacts that you asked about. Because these interest rates staying where they're at is affecting businesses as much as residential areas and, average people. What business real estate relies on is that refi. So if they want to strike while the iron's hot, while their idea is really in the mind of the public, they'll buy a brick and mortar, they'll buy a property, and with the intent of refining down the road when rates are better. Well, rates are not getting better. Rates are not getting better. I may have skipped this earlier. I'm sorry. But the average mortgage rate today, the 30-year rate, 8.09. 8.09 on a 30-year mortgage. 15-year rate, 7.2. 7.2 for a 15-year rate. So they can't buy in the refi. So it's almost suicide. That's why you're seeing for a business. That's why you're seeing these businesses it rose to 30%. It rose 30% anyway. Business bankruptcies. And then the same guy, Joe Consorti on X, a record 447,000 Americans, ladies and gentlemen, almost 500,000 Americans, listen to this, are now working 2 full-time jobs. A full-time job means 40 hours. The definition of a full-time job is 40 hours a week. So 500,000 Americans are working 80 hours a week in 2 separate jobs. Ladies and gents, this is not good. If you wondered whether we were going into a bad territory, there are many points of confirmation, many data points. But again, please don't let me bring you down. That was a good, almost Christopher Walken there. Don't let me bring you down. Almost did that. Almost hit that note. But we are going to have better times, ladies and gents. It might take about a year and a half. In fact, I just heard, this is out of the blue. This is just something I heard. I don't have, the source. Donald Trump is, he's telling us a lot of things if you listen, if you watch, video on Truth Social or whatever. But he's proposing that we have an online university, an American university, that is anti-woke and that it's free. We'll see. I'll keep you up on that. I'll look into that, keep you up on that. But anyway, I'm sure there will be many people, detractors on that. But this is from Fox News. I don't usually like them, but this is the Canadian thing. It's from other outlets, but this is the one I caught. Canadian government reports euthanasia, and that's not young people in the continent of Asia, ladies and gentlemen. That's suicide. That's death by someone else's hand. Euthanasia. EU. Euthanasia accounted for 4% of all deaths in 2022. Let me read that again. Canadian government reports euthanasia accounted for 4% of all deaths in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, Canada put into effect a thing called medical assistance in dying, MAID. And it kills people. You want to commit suicide or you want to kill off one of your kids, you go into medical assistance in dying in Canada. They do it on infants, ladies and gentlemen. When I say communism, I mean at its evil core. That's what these types of tactics are. They hate you. They literally hate you. Canadians, the government in Canada hates Canadians. And they hate you. It's a communist form of government, ladies and gentlemen. It's evil. There's no redeeming communism, no matter what universities tell you. There's no redeeming socialism. Socialism, what is that? It's communism without the AK. And what happens when you resist socialism? You get the AK. It's not hard to understand, ladies and gentlemen. 4% of the people in Canada were killed by the government. I'm not kidding you. Look it up yourself. You are right not to believe me. You're right to be, in shock. But this is verifiable. Medical assistance in dying. They're going to assist you. 4%. And it's just getting rolling. It's just started. Wow. Zero hedge. This is interesting. I like to. Dan, the other Dan. So we got Dan I and Dan B. Dan B says, a disarmed society breeds tyranny. Couldn't agree more, my friend. Could not agree more. So they want to disarm us. They're not gonna win. I'm gonna do something that Joe taught me. I'm gonna reiterate because we got new people watching, new people listening. 97.7 FM out of McAllen, Texas. KCYP, the city. This is where we're broadcasting from. Over the air, on the radio. Also on 97.7, the YouTube channel, the Facebook channel, and Bitcoin Otter Facebook channel. Well, Bitcoin Otter and Christopher Ott, Facebook and YouTube. So on YouTube, it's Bitcoin Otter Show. So when you mention the taking of the arms, okay, the Second Amendment is the reason why we are still free. You can argue with me. I don't think you'll do so successfully, but you can argue with me. So what happens when they want to take your guns? Well, they need an impetus. They need something to base it off of, right? Because they have a ton of anti-gun legislature ready for us, ready to throw into a bill and bam, throw it onto to the halls of Congress. So what do they need? They need events. They need events. They need shootings, which we had. We had, sadly, another one in Maine. So we saw what happened in Israel when they were attacked. Now, I've gone on record, and I will continue to say that they, in my opinion, they had to know about it. Mossad is the most highly vaunted intelligence network in the world. Not only are they, but they have the assistance of the Five Eyes, 5 nations, including the United States, Britain, Australia, with their ears and eyes everywhere in the world. If you want to believe that they didn't know, then you keep believing that. That's your right. I refuse to. So anyway, with that event, people are seeing, wait a minute, we have terrorists, because that's what Hamas is. I really do care for the children in Palestine, and I don't want them bombed 24/7 like Israel's doing. But Hamas is an evil entity and needs to be eradicated. I'll go on the record with that. So Hamas comes in, and these defenseless Israeli citizens were massacred. Ladies and gentlemen, they may mount something like that here, they being a terrorist group or whatever. But as the Japanese noted in World War II, here in America, behind every blade of grass is a rifle, especially in Texas. And we like it that way. We really do. I don't sleep with my rifle. Maybe that's an idea. But I'll tell you what, they got something coming. You come into my neighborhood on paragliders, we'll probably get you before you hit the ground. Just saying. Now, how do the usual suspects, how does the criminal syndicate that just desperately wants to crush America, how do they respond? With an event. Yes, I do believe that the impetus to the main shooting was from the usual suspects. That guy, that sick freak, was in a mental hospital all summer last year. Okay? You don't think they twisted that guy? You don't think they programmed that guy? You are you. You can believe what you want to believe. But if due diligence was ever performed on these mass shooting events, you would find they all have a therapist. Investigate those therapists. Who the hell are they? And what are they pumping into these people? These psychotropic drugs make you unwell, especially if they're already unwell. Think about these things, ladies and gents. These events happen. And what happens immediately after? Boom, there's a bill on the floor. Ready to go. Taking your guns. Right? You're a law-abiding citizen. You don't need that. Pati, glad to see you. So Dan says, Israel got their reason to do what they're doing. Yeah, they did. Hamas got their way to make Israel's enemies mobilize, and the U.S. emboldened Israel. I agree. So while we can admit, and we can all, stand behind the fact that Hamas is a terrorist organization, we also have to say that in how many instances have you ever seen the victim pummel their oppressor 24/7 with missile attacks? Israel the victim. So let me get this straight. You've been victimized. That's true. But if you're the victim, how is it that your oppressor is being decimated by your missile strikes and you're still the victim? Okay? So if someone comes at you and you think they're a threat to your life and you shoot at them and they run away, do you shoot them in the back because you're still a victim? You be the judge. And maybe that analogy doesn't roll with a lot of people, but I bet it will with some. This is very interesting here. Zero Hedge says, this is it coming out of Zero Hedge, Bridgeport election overturned after city official pleads fifth to ballot harvesting. Whoa, an election was overturned because of voter fraud? Where are we going, ladies and gentlemen? But there's some reasons. There are some reasons why this happened. Okay? Let me tell you what these reasons are. And I'll give you one word. I won't do it. I don't want to get partisan. Ladies and gents, I'm not a Republican. I am not a Republican. But right now, the Republicans are complicit. They're complicit. But the main capturing events occurred on the other side, if you know what I mean. So, in a 37-page ruling, Judge William Clark ordered a new Democrat primary based on 180 pieces of evidence presented by legal counsel for mayoral candidate John Gomez, who posted the following video to Facebook on September 16th and was seen by the court. So, cut to the chase. There was a woman who was seen going to and from ballot boxes and stuffing the living daylights out of them. Okay, so the guy for whom she was rigging the election is named Mr. Ganim. Mr. Ganim was also correct to be shocked at what he saw in the video clips and evidence that were shown to him while he was on the witness stand, wrote Judge Clark, referring to incumbent Mayor Joe Ganim of Bridgeport, Connecticut. The videos are shocking to the court and should be shocking to all the parties. Ganim was one of many city officials called by the Fairfield Judicial Superior Courthouse for questioning, along with Wanda Geter Pataki. Anybody who's in New York will know the word Pataki. They might spit after it, but they'll know it. Vice chair of the Bridgeport Democrat Town Committee, an operations specialist for the city, and Inaida Martinez, a former city council member accused by Gomez of stuffing ballot drop boxes. So, in summary, they have 180 pieces of evidence presented. And since it was a Democrat versus a Democrat, they overturned it. I pause for effect. Since it was a Democrat versus a Democrat, they overturned it due to fraud. That's a smile in case you're just listening. I'm smiling, okay? It is out of irony because they overturned, justly overturned an election based on 180, a mere, okay, a paltry 180 pieces of evidence. When we all know, and here it comes, we can talk about it now because they've said on Facebook, they have said on YouTube that we can talk about the truth now. 180 pieces of evidence here in Bridgeport overturned a fraudulent election to the real winner. Do you think 180 is a lot? It's laughable. A piece of sand on the beach compared to the 2020 election. 180. 180? Nothing. But again, ladies and gentlemen, it was a Democrat versus a Democrat. And 180 pieces of evidence was all it took for it to be justly overturned. Okay? Now, that's all I have in my notes. I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. I thank you for your time. I don't take it lightly that you tune in, that you watch, that you comment, that you listen. La Mera is watching. Hello. I don't take this lightly, and I appreciate it greatly. Why I do this is for you, and I really appreciate feedback, like what you're giving us here on the show via comments. And then, this is live, so we come out, we get close to 200 views a week. And I hope to bump that up because I want to get the message out to more people. And what I'm seeing is I'm seeing more people wake up. I'm seeing more people realize that we're in a really difficult situation. And my message is this: God is great. He's got great plans for you. And there are good things ahead. Please do not despair. We're going to go through tough times. What we have now is actually, these are the salad days compared to what we have coming up in 2024. And I don't want to be a doomsayer. I don't want to be a preacher of doom. No. Please rewind like 10 seconds and you'll hear what I really believe, that God has great plans for you and I. God has great plans for the United States and the world. Patriots are in control. But those people who don't watch this show, who don't understand what predicament we're in, they're going to need us. They're going to need us. Those of us that can see, those of us that can hear, okay? We are proverbially the watchers on the wall. We can see what's coming to the city, the people within the walls. And that's what we're doing. We're getting our message out. We're getting the message out. But first, we have to let them know that there's a savior. There is someone out there that can save you not only from the evil people, okay, that are running the evil system, but from their master, the devil himself. There is a savior. His name is Jesus Christ. And as I iterated, and I mentioned first off in the show, okay, he wasn't happy when the money changers were messing around with his father in his temple. And he was angry. He did something about it, but he didn't hurt anybody. Okay? He didn't harm anyone. I propose we do the same. I'm not saying we hurt anybody, but I'm saying we decimate, we obliterate their system. How do we do that? Find sound money. Find something of value. Again, I'm not by any stretch a financial advisor, but do your research and figure out what holds value and what doesn't. And right now, the Federal Reserve note doesn't hold any value. On the contrary. So again, my four: land, gold, silver, Bitcoin. These are me. I don't have half of that, but if you can, do it. Now, the other thing is this. Do what you can do and don't worry about the rest. Put your faith in God. He's going to provide for us. What our role is, what I believe my role is, and this is what I do, is get the message out. I want people to know that, Mike, good to see you. I want people to know that there is hope. We might be seeing people lose their jobs, their houses, their vehicles, but there's going to be hope because I do believe in 2025, we're going to be on the way up, and our children and grandchildren are going to have opportunities we never had. That's my belief, and I have many reasons for it. Do you want an encouraging message? bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I will personalize it. I guarantee you. I'll answer you. I'm not messing around. I will. I'm serious about that. Anyway, I'm going to let everybody go. I appreciate your time. Your time is valuable. I value it much more than those usual suspects at the central banking cartel. So thank you for tuning in. Please get the word out. If you think anyone else in your group of family or friends would like to see the show, 97.7 FM, KCYP the city out of McAllen, Texas. The Bitcoin Otter Show on Facebook under my name, Christopher Ott, and the Bitcoin Otter Show on YouTube. Also on 97.7, both channel, YouTube and Facebook. Thanks. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. Dan says the deepfake videos are going to twist and manipulate the masses. Yes, they will. But tune in and we'll keep you up on all of that stuff. Thank you. Thank God. And have a great week until we meet again.